don't get enough bacteria in your diet. If you eat a standard Western diet, for the most part, that's going to be true. The hygiene hypothesis that's come up about our immune systems is that up until the 18th, 19th century, the environments that we lived in were laden with the natural bacteria of the earth. It was part of our environment, it was part of us, and we were much less likely to get sick. When you hit the 19th century and you hit the obsession with cleanliness being next to godliness, you have environments now that are being obliterated by cleansers, by bleach, by antimicrobial agents. And now we live separate from these natural bacteria that used to be part of our environment, part of our lives. And now our immune systems can't really cope with them anymore. Think about it. Would you classify your digestive health as being excellent at all times? Or you get stomach aches, going to the bathroom isn't fun, you are not at peak digestive performance. And that's because your digestive system is not one with the environment around it. And there are ways that you can fix it. And the most fashionable one right now in the United States, especially in Chicago, the influx of Korean fusion cuisine, is eating more kimchi. Kimchi is a fermented product. Cabbage, peppers, garlic, spices. Lots of us think it's delicious. But from this fermentation process, it builds up lactobacilli bacteria, which are one of the main bacteria groups that we're missing in our modern diet. So if you eat kimchi, you might feel better. Just give it a try. Trust your gut. So we start with this idea here. Okay, I've got a punchline, I've got an idea, and now I have 5 to 7 minutes. I can go somewhere with this. That's the beginning of a Toastmaster speech. You don't have to have 5 to 7 minutes of script ready in order to get up here. And in fact, I'm going to argue that maybe a third of the time, you shouldn't have any idea what you're going to do when you get up here. Many of us join Toastmasters because we want to become better spontaneous speakers, whether we're giving a toast at a wedding or if we're called upon to give a presentation at work. We want to be ready to do that off the cuff. But you can't do that if all you're doing is giving a prepared speech and memorizing a script. Those are two different skills, and you're not getting the second skill of speaking off the cuff if all you do is prepare. So, the next time you come here, next week on Wednesday, 6:15 to 8:15, consider getting up here and having no idea what you want to talk about. Start with, an idea. First thing that pops in your head when you get up here is fine. I had kimchi for lunch a couple of days ago and said, okay, this is an interesting idea. I could go somewhere with this. Once you have that idea, you can pick a second sentence, see what happens, where you go with it. And periodically when you do this, and you have no idea where you're going to end up, but that's okay. You take it, you run with it. You see how you can react to any new ideas that come into your head, any slip-ups you make, gaffes. Figure out how to make a joke, run with it, and keep rolling. All of these are options when you're speaking spontaneously, because while you have an audience here, the audience is focusing on you. You can focus on them. What would they get out of this if I went in this direction or this direction? You have choices to make when you come up here, but you have to make them on the fly. And that's another skill that you can get out of spontaneous speaking. It is an intimidating idea. Just get in front of a room with no plan. But think about it. All of us love stand-up comedy, and a lot of that isn't planned at all. It's an act of courage, but it's an act of courage that I think all of us are capable of. We'll see you in the meeting next week, and I hope some of you have no idea what you'll talk about.
Tim knows exactly